Do you want early access? Do you want uncut reactions? If so, then check out our Patreon. Link in the description down below. The end of this season. And maybe the anime. I don't know. I don't know what the outcome's going to be. Holy hell.
Apparently up next to JoJo's Bizarre Adventure.
Yeah, which
So
we're not allowed to watch.
Yeah.
We are not allowed to watch it. Because last time we tried to, 2 copyright strikes.
Damn. That sucks.
Oh, yeah. Immediate, dude. As immediately as I saw it, I'm just like, oh, fuck. And I tried to get them to take them off because I was willing to delete the videos and everything. They're like, no. Shit,
it does have
all
a
over
shit
our
ton of
account.
copyrighted music in it.
Yeah.
But, yeah, there's no reason. Like, I've seen people request we react to JoJo's, and there's no reason to request that because we've all already seen it, man.
We've tried. Yeah, I've seen it, and honestly, I've tried to react to it, and
it's a fantastic show.
shit
My
on it.
reaction to it is it's a fantastic show. I can't wait for him to put out the dub of Golden Wind because I've been watching it with my bro who will only watch stuff dubbed, so I'm waiting on him. I'm being polite and not watching it subbed by myself, like, until that comes out, and we can watch it with him, so... Well, yeah, like, sorry, we've already seen it. Like,
Yeah.
For anybody who wants us to react to it.
but we're gonna have room after this, so honestly, I'm open to suggestions. I've actually put out a calling for.
We actually don't have room after this. We have to go back to Fire Force.
Well, that's true. That's true. But yeah. Anyway, we got the final episode of season 1 queued up here for the Promised Neverland. Let's get this up on screen and let's get into it. Jesus Christ, dude. Jesus Christ, what a fucking what a fucking roller coaster there, man. I know the idea of Norman being dead is sort of set in, but at the same time, the lingering thought is there that he may still be alive because if he was intelligent enough, maybe they would keep him.
That's true.
There's just so many things, dude. I mean, jeez Louise. I
was kind of irked for a second because I was like, are they implying she, like, got to, like, go actually, like, bang some dude and, like, get pregnant? Like,
no, I guarantee you what they do before they make someone a mom or give them a job as a sister or something like that, they always make them breed. So that the next generation is secured, and the next generation can yield stronger, better, and smarter children.
yeah.
And the thing
That's
is,
pretty fucked up.
It is. It's supremely fucked up. It's eugenics being used for pretty much nothing but feeding. That's evil. Eugenics itself is an evil concept, but at the same time, the fact that it's being used for such selfish means by these monsters, that is terrifying. And the fact that she was made to be a breeder, she had a child, and not only that, but she had to watch over her child, Ray. And I knew there had to be a reason why she specifically had this weird connection with him, to the point of where she wanted to make sure he went last. But I think subconsciously she was still hoping that the kids would figure out how to escape.
Yeah.
Because that's what she'd always desired, but yet she had been so indoctrinated into the system of being a mom that she literally had no alternative but to just keep feeding the children to these monsters. And when her opportunity came for not only a select amount of children, but also her son to escape, she sort of, I'm not going to say she allowed it, but subconsciously I think she wanted it. She wanted that to happen.
Yeah.
And I know that right now she's at risk of dying because she lost 2 prized, children. 2 that they were waiting for. And I'm worried that they're going to have a new mom if Emma and them ever do come back.
I would say there's probably a pretty good chance that due to that happening, she's not going to be allowed to live because of it. She even said pretty much, she's like, it was to survive as long as possible, but she's like, I think I'm done basically now, though I lost. It's whatever.
Yeah.
So I think she's kind of... I thought she was actually going to jump off the cliff or hang herself
That's
on
what
one
I
of
was
those
thinking, too, because
bandages,
that's
but
where my mind was. But then I think she realized
yeah,
that
she
there's
probably
kids to
thought about
look
the fact
after.
that there's still, like, the kids back at the house, you know, so
she can
went
look
back.
after them as much as she can.
But they will probably remove her and dispose of her, if I had to guess.
I would guess that, too. And it's...
Which I won't say sucks just because it's kind of like... I don't like this is a weird like show in terms of morality and shit, and it makes you like have to think really hard about like what the morality of all the choices is that these characters have made. Is like, is she truly an evil person because of what she's done? I would say to an extent, yes.
Yes.
But at the same time, it's not really her fault. She's not evil because of like just being evil. She was essentially raised to be evil.
Yes.
Like, and that's not really ever a person's fault. That's a product of your environment, pretty much.
And there are people who can turn it around eventually later in life, but at the same time, like me, the turn that I can think of, I remembered the very moment I thought about it, and I made the comparison. It was when she came down from the tree and saw that boy playing the mandolin and memorized the melody that he came up with. It was the only thing I can think of was, by comparison, Snape from Harry Potter. You spend all the time, you know the guy, pretty much disliking him, and then eventually, not only that, but he kills your mentor. Spoilers, by the way. And effectively, you pretty much grow to hate this man, and hate is the only thing you have for this person. But then later on you realize that they actually in some way wanted to help you. And in truth did make a sacrifice that honestly led to you having the ability to live and to flourish. In which the sacrifice I think she made was effectively keeping Ray around as long as possible.
Maybe I think the sacrifice she made was the only sacrifice she really made was there at the very end, where she didn't decide to be a bitch and just try to fucking tackle Emma.
Yeah.
It's like she kind of saw that they all found a way over the cliff. She saw that they outthought what she could even think of, like as a kid, you know.
It's a gnat. Sorry.
Yeah, and so she was just like, all right, well, these kids have what it takes, maybe, so I'm gonna let them go, basically.
Yeah.
Because the selfish bitch thing, like, would have been to just fucking try to tackle Emma and be like, you're at least not getting away, like, you know.
Yeah, but I think at that point she was already exhausted from being this authoritative figure doing the bidding of these monsters, and she finally had a moment where her humanity and her conscience could break through. Mm-hmm. And I think it took.
And I mean, you can argue too, like to an extent. It's like, oh well, kids of that age don't have a choice. Like whenever they're brought into something like that, it's like either you live and be evil or you die, pretty much.
Watch Jojo Rabbit and see if you still say the exact same thing.
Yeah, but like the thing is that Emma at the same age rejected that. It's like, oh, I have an opportunity to live. No, fuck you.
Well, it's because she had strong enough people around her. Because
Yeah,
the thing is,
she
this
did have
whole
the,
thing could not have happened without Norman and Ray.
Yeah, well, it essentially couldn't have happened without the hope built by like her and all of her friends. Essentially,
Yeah.
like they had to build that hope. Whereas,
By
like
coming together as a
she probably didn't have that hope. I don't even know if she knew something was up when she went to escape. I think she was just sad that her friend left.
Yeah.
And she wanted to get out and see him, and then realized she was in a place with a cliff, and that was the point where they're like, oh, we better go ahead and, you know, she was smart enough to climb that wall, you know, so
And
she has good
I think
scores,
the
so
mother-
we better
I
go
think-
ahead and ask her to be a sister, you know.
Well,
like,
yeah, and then the mother, I think, recommended her, and then when she met, like, the senior mother, who, you know, we saw again, she was, the other senior mother was there when Sister Crone was killed. Grandmama, if you will, yes. But overall, though, she has, when she got into being a sister, I think once she got past the sisterhood thing, the whole thing, it then became about breeding and, you know, see if she could yield a child, and which she did. She yielded a very intelligent child, Ray. And
One thing I noticed, by the way, that I don't know if you noticed, the babies that were there now.
Yeah.
There were 2 babies. One that they focused on, especially, like, looked a lot like Emma.
Yes.
And then there was another one laying in the background that was a little more blurred out that looked like he could have looked a lot like Norman, actually.
I saw that. I saw the one that looked like Norman that climbed up on the cliff and everything. I was just like...
Kind of seems like there's a possibility they may have, like, the same parents, actually, and actually be, like, blood brothers and sisters.
Well, potentially. And that's something that they could explore in the future. Like, eventually they do find out who their blood relatives are. And, like, they have a half-sister or a half-brother or... a full-blood brother or sister. I mean, I don't know. And I'm wondering how the hell this, like, now that they've escaped, now that the 15 kids have escaped, I'm wondering what exactly is going to be next. I wonder if they're going to try and find civilization and see if, they can come across humans that they can actually trust.
Who knows if there is civilization?
That's the other thing, too.
That's the thing that kind of made me realize, like, I always thought about Attack on Titan, and, like, I had a different thing in my head for what I had to imagine might be outside of their walls and everything.
Yeah.
As compared to what it actually is like. Because it didn't turn out like they're on, like, an island, right?
Pretty much,
and
yes.
So there's, like...
They're on an island that is pretty much... a gigantic desert.
Yeah, and there's, like, pretty much, like, a mainland, quote-unquote, nearby, but it's also just, like, an island.
Yes.
But my head was always, like, oh, they're in, like, East Europe, so they're probably in, like, I don't know, somewhere in Germany or whatever. But it wasn't set up like that when it got out. No. So, I mean, we're kind of, like, probably thinking... I mean, at least I'm kind of thinking at the moment, I'm like, oh, they're in, like, an actual country on the globe and stuff.
I would say they're probably...
This world could be set up like something completely different than what we expect. There may not be any other civilization.
I'd say they're probably on an island like Cyprus. Cyprus is pretty much an island that is almost nothing but desert and, like, rocky formations and everything. And I would say that's probably similar to where they are in terms of Attack on Titan. But we have a topographical layout of what the geography looks like in Attack on Titan. Here we have nothing. There's 3 farms. They're all fairly close to one another. There's a foundation building that connects all 3 of them, and that's it. The outside world is a big fucking unknown, and I'm wondering how the kids are going to adapt. The kids seem to be smart enough and intelligent enough to where they know they have to seek shelter, they have to stay warm, they have to take care of each other. They can't really, like, risk getting hurt or anything like that. But
so there's 2 setups I'm thinking about.
Okay.
One is that... Okay, so you know that scene that we saw, like, the some of the higher up, like, monsters... sitting and talking about, like, the feast or whatever and stuff or whatever they were planning,
Yeah.
And they looked like they were in some kind of, like, almost like building, like an office, like a skyscraper or something type thing. But, like, it was really dark. It was hard to tell. That's kind of what my head kind of came up with, though, for where they were at.
Okay.
So it's, like, 2 things. Either that's in headquarters back at the plant.
Uh-huh.
Or there's, like, a city somewhere that the creatures are living in.
Maybe.
So if number 1 is the case...
Yeah.
I don't think there's a high probability of there being any other civilization nearby. Like, they might find, like, a hut or something somewhere, and that happens to be, like, where a dude that writes the books, like, writes all his books from.
Yeah,
and sends
Mr.
them over to the
Minerva.
plant. But the other possibility is there is a city, but think about it geographically. So you build this plant. You don't want any of these kids getting out. In the low probability scenario that somehow they find a way out, placing that place geographically so they have the least possible, like, chances of reaching, like, civilization help, if it does exist, would be a priority. So that place looks like it's in the middle of fucking nowhere.
It's pretty much in a gigantic forested area.
So this is just completely like a shot in the dark, me throwing out a prediction, but say season 2 opens with them basically having been out there for like a couple of months, and they're just like, there's nothing. Like, we can't find anything. Our only chance pretty much is to go back and see if we can figure out, like, a plan for, like, can we find out what's in headquarters? Like, Like,
yeah,
explore more of like the facility basically that we didn't see as we tried to escape. Now that security's lowered again, because they won't expect us to come back, obviously. But that's like our only option really right now to continue surviving, because there's nothing out here. Like, that would be kind of a crazy scenario, I think. But
I think so. I think it'd be pretty fucking crazy.
I feel like if there is a city, there's going to be too much danger of them even trying to integrate themselves into like a outside culture or anything, because with their clothes and stuff, people are going to look at them and realize probably exactly where they're from. There's probably going to be monsters walking around that are going to be like, hey.
Which
like,
is
monster police. These kids are clearly from the meat plant.
which, yeah, that's one thing. I don't know what the status of humanity is. If humanity is literally just a farm, like what we've
unless
seen
they
here.
can like sneak into it, get a hold of like some normal looking clothes that would let them blend in with everybody. But even then, everybody's going to be like, never seen you kids around here before. Where do you come from? And people are going to start getting suspicious when they never see these kids with any adults and stuff. So
yeah.
I don't know, like,
I don't either.
But it all just depends on how they decide to set this up. It could go any number of ways, but that's pretty exciting. That was a kick-ass first season of a show.
Yes, it was.
This is one of my top favorite shows I think I've ever seen now, like just from that first season.
Yeah.
I really hope it stays this good.
I hope so too. And I'd love to see more of this, really. And
like,
get to
I'm
work on it,
ever
guys.
so slightly tempted to be like, this is one show I might actually kind of want to read the manga on, but I don't think
Yeah.
I don't think I will, because I'd rather see it animated and stuff with the music.
Yeah.
It's not super action-packed like Attack on Titan, but
No.
I don't know. I like the color and the animation after seeing a show, usually too much to convert over to black and white pages with no movement and music.
Yeah.
And sound.
That's the thing with manga that I think comic books have an advantage over it on. Pretty much every comic strip nowadays, or even way back in the like 50s, even all the way back way when,
They do them in color.
they were color. They were in color.
They're also
Whereas-
usually a lot shorter than a manga volume too, though.
True. Very true.
So that's the thing about manga, is they can get stories out a little faster by not worrying about the color so much.
True. It's just how they do it. Everyone's different on how they prepare and do things.
So that's one reason I've never really been super into comics, is because you go buy a new comic and you get such a small fucking slice of content for each one, and then you're stuck waiting on the next one, like, if you're caught up. And, like, every time it's just, like, a fucking little, like, morsel taste. And I'm just like...
and you're just like...
War!
You're like, damn
War!
it! Easy there, Aaron.
Yeah. So at least with a manga, it takes me, like, a few hours to read through, as opposed to, like, 15 minutes for a comic. It's like, graphic novels are cool for the same reason, it takes me a while. Like, it's a bigger slice of content, and I don't have to be like, fuck!
Like,
after reading for, like, 15 minutes. Like,
I get you.
what happens next?
Well, this was a great series, guys, and I want it to keep going. So hopefully the creators will come back and will give us more next season. COVID be damned.
I just want to see before we end the video if there's any for sure. Promised Neverland Season 2.
Fingers crossed, fingers crossed, fingers crossed. Come on, baby, come on.
Rescheduled release dates. First season was a hit, and so it was renewed for second season right after the first season ended.
Woo! Good shit.
Season 2 was originally scheduled to release in October 2020. However, because of the COVID-19 pandemic, Season 2 of the series was postponed. The series has been rescheduled to release January 2021.
Okay, so
that's
we gotta
not
wait
that
till
long,
next year.
at least. I'm really happy that it's not that long.
Yeah, we just gotta wait till next year, which I'm
It's
cool
always a
with that.
benefit to wait and watch stuff later.
Yeah, there kind of is.
It's like I did with One Punch Man. I skipped that whole fucking wait period because I waited until like more recently to watch One Punch Man Season 1, and then Season 2 dropped like not long after I had seen Season 1. And I was like, I subverted all that bullshit you guys had to go through being like, is it ever going to happen?
Well, that's like me with Mass Effect. I remember everyone was just like, oh, I can't wait for Mass Effect 2. Like, because I kept hearing about the Mass Effect franchise. And then all of a sudden, when 3 came out, I'm like, all right, I'll play it. And then they said, oh, the ending sucks. I'm like, well, shit. And then they fixed the ending, and I'm like, okay, let's do this. And they're like, all right, we're doing the Citadel DLC. Okay, now I'll do it. And then I got everything, including the Citadel DLC, like from 1, 2, and 3, played it all the way through. And I was just like, it was over 150 hours of total gameplay, and I was just like, oh. I am so glad I didn't have to wait for like 3 years between each game.
Yeah.
Fuck yeah.
In Game of Thrones, it's like I watched all of it
Oh,
for
yeah.
the first time, like, basically 6 months.
You marathoned
6 months
that
plus
shit.
before Season 8 came out, so I didn't have to wait all that long to be disappointed.
Oh, fair enough. Well, I wasn't disappointed with this. I was not. The recommendation for this could not have been any better. Thank you so much for recommending this. And we hope you all enjoyed.
I think it was actually me that recommended it.
Well, actually, yeah, I think it was.
I read a top 10 list and I was like, I kind of want to check this out.
Oh yeah, that's right. You watched Watch Mojo's top 10.
Yeah.
Which,
and everybody on Discord was like, yeah, that's a good show. And I was like, seems like it.
Yeah. So, for those of you who watch this on YouTube, we are sorry that we were not able to include footage. But hey, blame Aniplex. They're the ones who don't allow it, and plus now that Japan has locked down even more on anime and all that, it's probably going to be more difficult for us to do anime reactions going forward. So just be ready for that, guys. So anyway, that's going to do it. This was Promised Neverland, Season 1, Episode 12, the finale of Season 1. And, yeah, I guess we will see you all in the next one. We're going to be continuing Fire Force right after this. So, look forward to that, and I guess until then, signing off, I'm Nate.
I am Nick.
We'll see you then, Internet. Peace out.
Rip and tear until it is done.